Hey, this is Val Selby, and after over 20 years online, I can track where my mindset has blocked me. If procrastination, imposter syndrome, and a lack of focus have been blocking your biz, then Val Full Volume is here to help you see choices you are making. Get ready to use your expertise to collaborate like a pro as you create the business of your dreams. Now is the time to make changes and live your best life. Let's get to it. Hello. Thank you for being here listening again. I'm super excited for those of you that have followed on over to the new platform where we're at. I am excited to bring you more guests, which I have today, on a very important topic and close to my heart topic of procrastination and moving forward in our business when we're having those seasons. And thank you so much for being here, Carol Clegg. I am okay. So for those of you that might not know, I love working with midlife women because that's what's usually coming to me as a midlife woman as well. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting a lot of tips today as well on our conversation will be here today. So thank you for being here, Carol. And if you wouldn't mind, would you just let the listeners know whatever you would like to tell them about yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, Val. Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show. And yeah, you and I both relate to midlife woman business owners. I guess they always say it's where you're at the moment that you get your strengths from. And it's often what we go through in life, and we learn our lessons or we change our seasons, and we want to share that with other people. So I am Carol Clegg, originally from Cape Town, South Africa, hence the accent. We left many, many years ago. In fact, it's almost 30 years ago. So it's been an interesting journey, and I now live in the desert in New Mexico, and I'm an ocean girl. So not sure how that happened. And this is also the longest that we have lived anywhere as a family.
Wow.
But I started my business in, 2009. And just, I guess at the time, social media marketing I always wanted to spread the word. And I heard you talk about collaboration. And I just always felt that people needed to know when something was out there, they needed to know. Mm-hmm. So I was super excited when we had Facebook and Facebook pages and, all the things that we had back then. And so I stepped into helping small businesses create and manage their social media marketing. And that was many years. And then after a few years, I decided that it was time now to move on. Empty nesting, wanting to travel more, wanting to change that up a little bit, because there's a certain sense of responsibility. I do still work with one or two of those clients, but I don't know about you, but there's seasons where I get a little tired. And some of the social media platforms are not my favorite. And so, having to show up for clients on social media and loving them all and being on all the platforms kind of needed to shift. And so that's when I moved into coaching and working with midlife women.
Yes.
With their small businesses. And there's a lot to that, but I love the marketing background, but I know that one needs systems. And so, that's where I'm at the moment, is coaching with accountability and coaching with positive intelligence, which is now a new modality that I have brought into my coaching, which is incredible. I'm super excited about it. It made a difference to me. So I now want to share that with other people. So that's me.
And this is exactly why I let my guests introduce themselves, because this might not have been the direction if I'd written down questions that we would go. But oh my gosh, we're totally going into positive intelligence right now, because what are you talking about? I have to know. I must know.
So Positive Intelligence is a program that was created by Shehzad Shamain a good couple of years ago. And he is a Stanford lecturer. He has written a book that has been published in, I believe, 20 different languages, just to give you an idea of the reach of his training. And he has worked with many different CEOs, different people. And he introduced this training concept to coaches where we are learning that positive change can happen if we build on habits and build our muscles. And it's quite fascinating. So in this process, as we trained as coaches, you dig into what are the saboteurs and that judge, that negative voice that just trips us up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this play into, and why does it stop us from reaching happiness and having positive feelings?
Mm-hmm.
So we explore what that looks like. And funnily enough, each of us has a judge. So we're harsh on ourselves, we're harsh on others, and we're harsh on our circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And often it is loud and it prevents us from many things. It prevents us from performance and productivity. It prevents us from a work-life balance. There's just so many things that it robs us of because we get sucked into this negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So with his process, we learn how to recognize this, how to stop it in its tracks, and how to shift into what he calls a sage perspective, which is looking at things with a growth mindset. And there's so much to it. But
right.
That's the starting point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I needed you a few years ago so bad. So bad. Because everything you're talking about is exactly what I taught myself with bits and pieces all over the place.
Right.
The just even learning how much, I always had that in the back of my head that I was self-sabotaging, and I became more and more aware of doing it, but being aware of it and making the change, that was really hard on my own.
That is the hard part.
Hard.
Yeah. And this is where this is such a simple framework and we can get there, but I would love to actually just show you or take you through it and let your listeners do that with me.
Oh yeah. If you want to go for it.
All right. So you've got this emotion that comes up and you can feel your judge going, I don't want to go into this meeting. I don't want to talk to this person. I'm feeling overwhelmed. So what you want to do, and this ties into what we learn about mindfulness, meditation, but this is the tool that you build over time that is your saving grace. So let's just walk through this right now. Mm-hmm. Wherever you're sitting, I want you just to settle down into your seat. I want you to take a nice big deep breath in, feel it all the way down, let it out. And now I want you just to take your fingertips together, and I want you just to gently touch those fingertips together and lose yourself in the feeling of that sensation of your fingertips touching. And then you can just move your hand and slide it down, one hand into the palm. And once again, just focusing on the sensation of your hand. You could fold your hands, touch your hands. Now, if you were in a meeting, you could be doing this under the table. And that is just a tiny insight. And the reason that we're doing that is to stop the left-hand side of your brain with its negative thoughts by doing what we call this PQ rep. And you could do this for 10 seconds. You could do it for 2 minutes. And there's a variety of different ways that we learn through the course. You have stopped in the tracks that negative and you're focusing on a sensation.
Yeah.
And then you shift into a positive mindset and you come at this with how could I be more empathetic about this? What about this person? Perhaps they've had a rough day today. How can I look at them through more gentle eyes? So you've stopped, the PQ rep stops that negative chit chat. And it's so simple.
It is very simple. It works.
Right.
It works so much. Whether you call it with the woo-woo stuff, which I'm still trying to figure out another word because I'm over woo-woo being a negative word.
Right.
Because it's all encompassing. It's just taking ownership of where we are and our thoughts. Our thoughts don't have to be super positive all the time. We still have to deal with them and work with them. And there are times that I don't want to get on the podcast interview and I have to sit down and I'm just like, do exactly what, not exactly, but very much what you just said of, okay, let's just sit here. Let's just take the deep breath and be present. And they're always amazing interviews that I'm like, oh my gosh. And I almost canceled on this,
Absolutely. And it's being empathetic with yourself. It's being kind to yourself. And that's the self-care that we often don't give ourselves. It's like, it's okay to have those emotions and dig into them a little bit and explore them, but then say, hang on a minute, be kind. Be kind to myself. I can do this.
I think that might be one of the best things that I have learned in the last few years is it's okay to have my feelings.
Right.
And I can have negative feelings.
Yes. Yeah. And they often can be an indicator of something that you might need to explore.
Yes.
So one doesn't need to sit in those negative, but they could be like an alert and going, hang on a minute, there's something, and it could be something so simple with Val, you talk about, coming to recording as changing up when you record. So I too host a podcast and I'm going to take a break for 2 months. Our daughter's getting married and I want to focus on the wedding.
Oh,
and
how
so
exciting.
I know. Let's be back in August and I'm changing things up. I'm changing the day of the week. I'm just changing a whole lot of things. And because it's time. And as we spoke about that, seasons.
Yeah.
That there are seasons in our business and we need to recognize that and not fight them.
And I don't know if you find this with your clients as much as I do as well. It's fighting those seasons that are creating the biggest procrastination.
Right. Absolutely. The fight. I love the way you say that because it does. If you think about it, we are overwhelmed. We're overstriving. We are confused. And so then that little, imposter syndrome hat or the perfectionist jumps up and down and goes, well, you can't get this. You're not going to do it right. So why bother?
Yeah. Yeah. And just not allowing it to be okay to change.
Right. Yeah.
Like the season just has to roll over. Here we grow, that's silly. Oh God, I hope I'm not going to be full of cliches today. Here we grow.
Yeah. But procrastination, I think we all suffer from that. And it's not a one size fits all. So that's why I invite people to just explore the reasons for the procrastination and decide, is it fear? Is it you don't have knowledge how to do this? Is it something that doesn't bring you joy? And perhaps you should be delegating that to somebody else. And then it gets done and you're not procrastinating.
Or, I mean, and this is extreme, but I've talked about it on a previous podcast, or are you in the wrong business? I mean, you had to move from your season of, I don't want to really do that anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, did you get stuck in any procrastination in that time or did you feel it pretty quick?
Absolutely. No, I knew that I needed to do something different. I didn't know what it looked like. And it kind of just, it morphed. I hosted masterminds for about 2 years and I just loved bringing these women together. And then that all sort of died away. And I guess that's what the thing is not to beat yourself up when something that you're doing now no longer doesn't work.
Yes.
I have a friend of mine who's a career coach and she's just recognizing things are shifting and she doesn't know what it is and she doesn't know where to go with this, but it's not working. And so now what do? We need to explore.
And that's a scary position to be in when you are doing it alone without a coach or, a mastermind or some really tight group of other business owners. It's scary.
And this is where this positive intelligence for me is now going to be such an integral part of my business and my coaching because we need to learn that we can switch. We need to have these more positive emotions. So with coming back to the sage powers, and they are so cool. So I've mentioned the empathize, but there are other powers that you can bring in. Those are explore. So you kind of, what does this look like? And you just throw out a bunch of ideas. So if you were wanting to shift your business, you write them all to mind mapping. Love mind mapping. But dump all these ideas down if you're going to switch gears. And then you can go, okay, innovating. What could come out of this? And what do I need to move forward with this? So you get that down to 1, 2, or 3 steps and then explore. And before you know it, you'll be able to shift gears and you've pulled together some facts. And then it's the last one, which is taking action. And so it's like, sit down, Judge. I don't want to hear from you. I am moving in. And because you've got to move forward. If you don't take action, you're not going to know if it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at it on paper. You need to to me, it's always take that baby step. Next one. next one. And then before you know it, that's another tip for me with procrastination, because if you just start that one, get the ball rolling, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. No matter how small.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just getting it started. I know one major thing is that I'm, teaching my clients so much more and more is when you are feeling like it's time to let something go, you need to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to figure out how that looks for you, because if you don't let it go, then you don't have room to go forward into that new season and those new amazing things that are coming that you don't even know yet.
Right. And it's to me at this stage of life, it's the sense of joy that you get from your business. That's why we're doing this.
Uh-huh.
For many women now, if they're empty nesters or they're exploring something or they've been in a career, but they have knowledge, they have wisdom, they have something to share with others. And so, let's get into encouraging you to start this business, grow this business, add to your layers, support yourself with the right kind of people, the team, the coaching, the mastermind, but you can do it.
Yeah. And see where it leads. And know that no matter what, like today is not your end game.
Right.
Today is still learning and possibly moving into another season.
Yeah. Oh, never stop learning. Love it. That's what I guess my weakness is, that one of those is like, Carol, you need to stop signing up for the next course and the next this.
Yes.
I've tried something recently, and Val, I don't know if you've tried this, is time boxing.
My brain fights it.
Okay.
My brain fights it like, oh my gosh, there's no room for creativity, kind of thing. But I know it does help at certain.
Yeah, and so I'm not a whiz. This is this week's style, and I thought
exactly, yeah, it's working today. Right?
I have realized that I'm not putting in enough gaps in for all the other little things, but that's. So I guess there's two ways to look at it. One is filling up your calendar with the projects as you need to do them, theming the days of your week and going, okay, today's podcast production, tomorrow is admin, et cetera, and just staying with it until it's finished. Mm-hmm. Alternatively, the time boxing going, okay, I'm allowing myself 30 minutes to check my email. And when 30 minutes is up, I shut down my email, not looking at it. Mm-hmm. And so, as I say, different things, not one size fits all. You need to explore.
See, now this one, time boxing like that, I can 100% always be on board with, just because however much time you decide it's going to take is how much time it will take you to do it. Right. That's what one of my coaches told me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so simple and so true. If I write down, okay, we're going to work on a sales page for 2 hours. Wow, it takes me 2 hours to write a sales page. If I write down, we're going to get this shit done in 45 minutes. I get it done in 45 minutes.
It's wonderful. Yeah. And then, because that's to me, I shared with you that creating a lifestyle business is important to me. I want to be able to travel, but I want to have my coaching business.
Yeah.
And so, putting time blocks on things that we need to get done. I guess the other thing is also being aware of when you are creative, when you're tired. Yes. So leave that to the admin. My afternoons are always a wreck. By about 3:00, I'm done.
Oh yeah, 2:00 nap time.
Yeah. So that's a good time to do the admin, the stuff that you don't want to do. Don't give away your beautiful creative mornings to admin.
Yes.
Or being sucked into emails, because then you go down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
Use those times to let your creative juices bubble and flow. And there's also a sense of I guess, all the special hormones, I never know what they're all called, but that we release that make us happier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So why not?
Yes, it is really important. And it's one of the things I do have my clients do is pay attention to their high energy times. And just track it. What are your high energy times? Because we have a certain time during the day when we have our most productivity, when our brain is the most engaged, and knowing that it doesn't have to be mornings or evenings or whatever the latest thing you read is, you got to get up an hour early. That's the best productive time. No, that is not for me.
Right. Yeah. No, you have to explore what works for you and recognize you. Once again, that's coming to self-care and empathy for yourself and that you're important.
Yeah. And not forcing it, because it's really crazy how much, I mean, we're in business for ourselves to have control of our schedule. And then we're pretty good at beating ourselves up for not sticking to the schedule.
Right. Yeah. Shared with you. The theming, the days of the week have helped me. I guess I need to move them around, but knowing what days of the week belong to what kind of gives you peace at night before you go to sleep, because you go, okay, tomorrow holds this. This is what's in my bucket. And you can kind of be in that frame of mind of, okay, is this my marketing hat? Is this my writing hat? Is this my connecting hat? Is this my coaching hat?
And I know me being more strict with myself, there are definitely times, like we're kind of probably coming into one right now. We've got some family health issues going on. And I know previously I can look back and recognize that, you know what, when I had my content ideas set out, it really helped me during those seasons because there didn't have to be the thought of that when my thoughts are already getting pulled in another direction, right?
Absolutely.
So it did help me to be more strict, for lack of another word, because in my brain, and this is part of my own self-sabotage, my brain tells me that's strict. And oh my gosh, rebel, fight authority. Versus now, hopefully I'll be looking at it going, okay, we're not fighting authority because it's us.
Right. And it served you and it gives you that space for what you need.
Yes, for the lack of having to think of, okay, getting up this morning, what the heck am I going to do today? What do I want to talk about? It's like, nope, it's already, it's mapped out, and just follow the map. And no, like you said, the map doesn't have to just be the end all be all. Amen. We're doing this forever.
But give it some flexibility. Sometimes it needs to shift. And I think that's, just putting in some time blocks that you're doing nothing. Those white spaces that they call it on your calendar, they serve you, because that's, you feel like taking a nap, or you want to do something different, or you want to go for a nice long walk. Well, then you can do that because you factored it in and you're not beating yourself up that you haven't ticked all those things off your to-do list. But it's interesting that you talk about, creating and doing something when you know what's ahead of you, because that for me is also my advice that I give to people if they do love to travel, is do the heavy lifting while you're at home before you head out, when you've got good internet, and kind of get some of those things taken care of, so that yes, you can still touch in and check in on your business, but you're not stressed because you're thinking, oh, I've got everything still to do while I'm trying to travel.
And it makes vacations so much, or the trips so much more enjoyable, just to be present.
Right.
And love life.
Absolutely.
Because you're literally having everything that you wanted at that very moment. You're like, my business is already running because I did a little bit of extra. And oh my gosh, look at where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at where I'm at, and enjoying it, embracing it, recognizing it is so important. And I know some of you might be sitting here going, travel, who the hell gets to do that? And I hear you. I've been there, but travel doesn't necessarily mean that you are taking off to the Caribbean, or you are taking off to Mexico, or traveling across the world. Even last week, because we are in the family emergency season, I was sitting there, I got some work done, and I went, you know what, I'm going for a walk. And I just went down to the river and took a 2-hour walk. And just enjoyed the trees and the river and just all of it, and just told myself, you know what, we don't have to do anything else the rest of the day.
Yeah, that you can make space in your business. It's so true what you're saying. I mean, it can be, what do they call it? A staycation? I mean,
staycation.
Shorten your week, work a 4-day work week, because you've taken care of everything Monday to Thursday, whatever works for you.
Yeah. And if people are going through procrastination, all of that, that was one of the things that did help me get through it was, you know what, no matter what, I'm not working weekends anymore. And then no matter what, I had to be strict with myself, because I couldn't be nice to myself immediately, right? I'd have guilt and shame myself, and all of this isn't getting done. And, and then I did start going to no Fridays.
Right. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
It's wonderful because then, you have an invitation to go and meet somebody for coffee or do something. And you kind of go, I know my Fridays are open. And yes, if there's an emergency, you can jump in and do what you need to do. But I love having my 4-day work week.
Yeah. And then I have my Friday is just like all of a sudden, if I decide I want to create something, it's wide open and I blast that thing out,
Right.
Like,
yeah. Do your best work ever.
Right. And I'm not in that season necessarily anymore where I am super strict about it. But that was how I got the process in place for myself. And
well, I think it just comes back to this procrastination and just trying different things. So to be intentional, I think, to go, does a 4-day work week work for me? Does front loading my week work for me? But to try some different things that then give you the space and then celebrating.
Yes.
Because that's the important part, is celebrating what you have achieved. And I love to recommend for people, even at the end of the day, before you get into bed at night, celebrate. Like, go, hey, I did this, this, and this, and celebrate it. And just go, I accomplished it. You did not procrastinate. You did it.
I'm big on celebrations because we don't do that enough. And we especially don't celebrate ourselves enough.
No, I know.
Of what we have accomplished. It's always the next goal and this. And oh my gosh, I didn't get this done and this didn't get done the right way. It's like, no, it got done. How about we celebrate it got done?
Exactly. Yep.
Because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. And that's back to those baby steps. Celebrate those baby steps. Yeah.
And grab a hold of them. Perfect. Oh, excellent. So, Carol, is there anything that you would just last words for listeners? What's popping up?
Yeah, I just, I want to just encourage you to explore what feeling happier means. More positive emotions. So just digging into that a little bit is the positive emotions lead to the happiness. It's not like, I'm going to be happy today and then go searching for them. It'll come. It'll come. So just work on that right-hand side of your brain, the creative side. And
I love that.
Happier you. So thanks, Phil. This is wonderful.
And listeners, if you were totally just feeling that it's a lot, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's a lot easier. It can be better if you're working with somebody as you're going through that process. Believe me, because I did it alone. I've done it alone and it was so lonely. So if you just totally connected with Carol, all of her information is going to be in the show notes for you to go and have a chat with her and see how you can get your positive intelligence working for you and what that means for you, because that's the beautiful thing about coaching is, it's not one size fits all. It's not like she's coming in with a roadmap of, well, you must do this, this, and this. She's going to work with you, as you just heard, on the mindset, which we know owns our business.
Absolutely does. And I love to think of coaches as partnering. We're partnering with you. We're there to listen to you and encourage you, and you'll explore. You'll find your own ideas. We're just there to walk alongside you.
Yeah. And be your biggest cheerleader, because I just talking with you, I can tell you're the same thing. It's like, oh man, if my client has a win, I have a win. I am just as excited as if I did it myself.
Absolutely.
Freaking out. I'm happy immediately, while they might be going through process, but I am like, screaming up and down. Biggest cheerleaders as you were going through it. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Carol. And
thank you.
I am excited that we have connected. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks, Val, for letting me share my story.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And we will be back again next week.